Okay, sine, cos and tan for any angle. So what we're going to look at now is how we can extend our use of sine, cos and tan for any angle we like, thinking particularly about angles beyond 360 degrees. And so what we're going to do is consider this relative to a coordinate axis, an xy axis. Okay, so there's y and there's x, and we are going to think about angles on this coordinate axis, and we're going to think about everything relative to the positive x-axis. Okay, so we're going to start nice and easy, and we're going to think about how we could represent certain angles on this system. So, first of all, how we'd represent an angle of 60 degrees relative to this positive x-axis. So we can draw a line. That's about 60 degrees. So it's that angle there, 60 degrees, and that line can represent an angle of 60 degrees. We could look at another one, 210 degrees. So if we're going relative to this positive x-axis, that would take us to 90, that to 180, that would be 270, so our angle of 210 is somewhere in there. Lift it up without smudging. So it's that angle round like that, 210 degrees. So far so good, that's all pretty easy I think. It's all pretty clear. What we're going to think about now is how we would represent an angle of 400 degrees on here. Okay, so shall we wipe these off just so it's as clear as we can make it. Okay, there we go. Let's repair the axes. So 400 degrees. Starting at x, 90, 180, 270, 360, and then another 40 degrees to get us to 400. So we could represent 400 degrees on here. So that's all the way, let's get that right, all the way around from the positive x-axis, all the way around and then back again to that line there, and that's 400 degrees. Which of course is exactly the same as if we'd have just gone 40 degrees. Okay, so we could represent an angle of 400 degrees on here simply by doing an angle of 40 degrees. And it's at this point that it's interesting to think about our sine and cos graphs. And if you look at your sine graph and look at the point on your graph for 40 degrees and compare that to the point for 400 degrees, you should see that they're the same point. Okay, so this way of considering angles on a plane like this allows us to think about what happens when we go past 360 degrees and identify that equivalent point really easily. Okay, wait till we pause there.